football playoff. And I personally think it's going to be an easy win for Michigan out of the two games. I think this is the easiest one to pick the winner. Vegas has Michigan favored by 7.5. I think that's absolute steal, as I think they're going to win by 17, 20 points. And you got the over under at 59. And first, I'm going to get to Michigan. I think Michigan just been a really good football team this year. They know how to handle business. They started out kind of with a bang. Uh, JJ McCarthy took over, kind of early on in the season. You see the first three games were just blowouts, and then they kind of have that identity as being a second half team throughout the whole year. They just run it down your throat, and then by the fourth quarter, you just got nothing left to give. And even seen that against Penn State at home, they just gradually pulled away from that game. It was real close at half. And then against Ohio State, in Ohio State, they were trading, haymakers with them back and forth the first half. And then, as the game went on, you could just tell that Michigan just looked like the, better coached football team. They just seemed to, have it together, was making all the key plays when time mattered. And I think J.J. McCarthy's, is a very capable quarterback. Last year they came McNamara when they made the college football playoff. And I kind of thought he was just a game manager, at best. He wasn't really that dynamic. Whereas JJ McCarthy, he's a 5-star recruit. He's got 20 touchdown pass, only 3 picks, can take care of the football. And under Harbaugh's system, he's not going to be asked to go throw for 4,000 yards in the season. That all they really want out of their quarterbacks is to manage the game. But it's always nice to have that 5-star in your back pocket that can make the big throws. Like when the run game wasn't good against Ohio State, McCarthy came on and was slinging it down the field. Made some key throws that kept them until the run game got going. And, in the game, they're going to be without Blake Corum. He's out with an injury, but Donovan Edwards is more than stepped up, especially in the second half of games. He's, turning on to a whole nother level. And it's, kind of been their theme is, against Purdue, it was 14-13, going into half. And then Michigan just kind of ran away with that game, 43-22. And then Ohio State, it was close at half, like a 4-point game, I believe. And then, Michigan just, went away with it. The Illinois game was kind of close, but I think maybe that was just Michigan looking a little bit ahead. But I promise you, I think last year Michigan was just happy to be in the college football playoff. And this year, I think Michigan has their mind on business. They don't want to just get there. They actually want to win the whole thing this year. And I think TCU, they're kind of the Cinderella team, but I think this is just an average team, or maybe a little above average, but probably not ready for a team like Michigan. They've played a lot of close games this year. Going back to the first game against Kansas State, Kansas State was at 28-10 on them, and then they came back in the second half and won the game. As Kansas State just looked like they could not stop them at all in the second half, and then against Texas, that was a real defensive struggle. They beat Texas 17-10, and then they played Baylor, and I had originally picked Baylor to win that game. I thought that was going to be where the upset was going to happen, as Baylor's just kind of been solid all year. They just I thought maybe Baylor could get the job done. And Baylor had, I believe, was a 9-point lead going, middle of the fourth quarter. And then TCU came all the way back to win on a last second field goal. And it's just kind of been the identity of the team. It's not flashy. They're not going to beat you 50-7 unless you're Iowa State. But, they just come back in the second half. They kind of grind it out and win. And as a conference, I'm not a fan of the Big 12 this year. Oklahoma State started off good, but if you watch their games, they got absolutely no defense, and it started to show as the season went on. I think Baylor's just an average team. They were like 6-6 on the year or something, and then Oklahoma, of course, has had a down year. So to me, it was not that I know a lot of these teams are ranked, but I don't think that they're great teams. They're not a Michigan level team, and I just think Michigan is just going to easily dominate them when it's all said and done. Michigan, they kind of got might as well say a no-name defense. I don't really have that many big stars. If there's one key matchup to look out for, it'd be their defensive back that they have, Will Johnson going up against Quentin Johnson for TCU, and you got two a big body receiver against a big body corner. Uh, Johnson was a 5-star player for Michigan, and I think he's going to be able to potentially shut down a receiver like Quentin Johnson. He has 53 catches, 903 yards, so obviously they're top target to throw at. But I just think when it's all said and done, Michigan will wind up winning this football game, and I think they're going to win it fairly easily. And I'm going to take the spread on the game, 7.5, and I'm going to take the under on this game. I just feel like TCU is going to struggle to put up points as Michigan is going to play a really good disciplined defense, and Doug is not really going to turn it over. He's only had 4 interceptions all year with 30 touchdowns. But this is not Big 12 defense. He's throwing, he's throwing it against Michigan, who, a Harbaugh coach defense is going to, come to play, be disciplined. They're going to have to fight for everything. They say the battles in the trenches. I think Michigan's just a better team in the trenches. Going back to the Big 12 championship, TCU, they had the ball on like the half-yard line, if even that far from the thing after Duggan had that run in overtime. They can even punch it in there to finish out the drive. I think Michigan is going to control the line of scrimmage. McCarthy's going to have his moments. He's going to be, I don't think he's going to throw 40 times, probably going to throw 15 or 20, but be very efficient, have a couple flashy plays. And as the game goes on, I think see Michigan win like 35 or 38-17, something like that. And that's my prediction for the game, guys. Thanks for watching. Plenty more.